we got to talk about some overreactions that are, without a doubt, going to be out into the open for a lot of people. I'm going to tweet this out so people get to know what we got going on. There's going to be a lot of overreactions going into this season based on what happens from week 1. Some were from week 0, but I want us to all kind of get aligned here and to be able to guard against that, because we know these voices will be loud. They'll be from national outlets. They'll make a lot of sense in a 1-game sample size, but 1-game sample size is not an accurate sample size for the entirety of the season. And I think the game here in Nashville, Tennessee and Virginia is a phenomenal example of that. We got Joe Milton going to be the guy for Tennessee this coming season, and I expect him to do phenomenal things like I already told y'all about. The reaction for him is going to be extremely quick if he overshoots any wide receiver. Because everyone all season long, if you're anti-Joe Milton, you usually fall somewhere into the argument of, well, yeah, he's got a big arm. Yeah, he can throw an orange 90 yards. That's impressive, but can he dial it in? Is he accurate? Does he have any touch? I don't think so. Like, they're just waiting to say something about that. I promise you, it'll happen on Sunday if he overshoots any wide receivers. I want us to understand this. Joe Milton has much less margin for error in the public perception when he overthrows a wide receiver than any other quarterback in college football, in my opinion. Like, an overthrow from Joe Milton gets more of a reaction than from anybody else because of his track record and because of him being benched at Michigan and at Tennessee previously. Like, my big thing with this now is we've seen Joe Milton be accurate with the deep ball. Like, we all saw it. It was on national television against Clemson. We saw him dialed in. So just because people are going to say, well, he's going to overthrow Joe, he's going to be this, he's going to be that, he's just a big arm, he's not accurate. What are you saying? We saw this against Clemson. We've seen him do this now. Let's not be prisoner of the moment. Also, I want us to understand this is a timing thing. It's not an ability thing. You can go and work the deep ball after practice. You work that all off season. You work that all fall camp. You're going to work through that all season long. So let's not just take the one thing we see from a game, if he does have any overthrows, and say, yep, Joe Milton, same old Joe Milton, selling my Tennessee stock this year. They're going to say it, even if he throws for 3 touchdowns and no interceptions and he's out by halftime. And the other part of this is you have the number 1 player in the entire country from the 2023 cycle, and Nico Iamaleava. According to us here at On 3, at least, he's going to be on the bench. He's waiting in the wings. A lot of people are excited for Nico time, and I am too. I cannot wait for him to be the guy in Knoxville. But Joe Milton is the guy this year. He's earned it. He gives you the best chance to win football games. And he may have himself a tremendous year. That's how I feel about it. So don't listen to the noise. Joe Milton's going to be just fine. Let's not get caught up in the overreaction. Another thing I want to talk about here. If USC has any issues on defense against Nevada, you will hear a lot of what you heard this past weekend from their performance against San Jose State. And I'm not here to make excuses for USC. I'm absolutely not here to tell you that the USC defense is going to be like top 15 in the country, or they're going to be elite, or they're going to carry the Trojans to the college football playoff. I'm not claiming any of that. I'm just here to say, 1, it's week 1. It is their second game. We saw them rotate a lot of young bucks against San Jose State. They weren't overly worried about San Jose State. Was there some busted coverages? For sure. Yeah, they had some issues. But to make a definitive statement 2 games in on what USC's defense is going to be is a bit knee-jerky. They've got more talent on the defensive line now. They've got a lot better personnel overall on that defense. We have 2 data points. If they struggle against Nevada, and struggle is probably even the wrong word to use, if they have some plays that you see tweeted out into the internet and they're saying, well, look at the USC defense here, look at them missing tackles, look at them having a busted coverage, I'm not worried because it doesn't matter till October. So let's give them this runway now. It's going to be experimental, I think, until they play Notre Dame week 7. But I'm just saying, 2 games is not enough to provide evidence that there's a real issue. Now, you have enough to talk about it and make a case, but it doesn't provide like convincing evidence in my mind. So keep an eye on that with USC. Let's be slow to be definitive there. Another thing here, if Florida State or LSU wins convincingly in Orlando, and I say convincingly in like, let's say it's a 10-point win for either side. Let's go a step further. Let's say they win by 13 points. Okay, so almost 2 touchdowns. There's going to be a lot of conversation, a big narrative saying, well, we were wrong about and insert the losing team there. Well, LSU, they must have not really been that good. Well, Florida State, maybe they're not that good. That's just not true. We are not wrong about either of these teams right now. It wouldn't surprise me if the loser of this game found their way in the college football playoff, because they have so much talent, and even more so, they have proven, experienced production. Florida State, number one team in the country when it comes to returning production. LSU, the roster speaks for itself. Harold Perkins burst on the scene last year. A quarterback back in Jaden Daniels. Josh Williams, like you go down the line here. Will Campbell, got the number 7 jersey, playing tackle for you. You hear what I'm saying? There's so much talent, so much ability, and so much leadership in both these locker rooms. What happens game one does not need to define their season. I don't think we should define them based on game one either. Because even if it does end up being a one-sided game, and I'm not predicting that. I predicted the opposite, actually, when it comes to Florida State LSU. But when it comes to what this game will be, even if it is one-sided, that is one result out of 1,000 results that could have potentially happened in this game. And I think the other 999 likely have the game being pretty close. So large degree of variance here. I just want us to understand the box score here. We can't just define LSU or Florida State as being overhyped or, just all flash, no substance. So both these teams going to be really good this year, regardless of what happens in game one. They're going to be really good. Last thing I want to talk about here, let's not give away the Heisman Trophy in week one. We know that. You know that. If you watch the show, I'm sure you're dialed in. I want us to really just make sure we tell everybody else that. I want us to bring the rest of the college football public in with us, because it happens every single year. Someone balls out week one. Someone has a tremendous first showing. And you see all these headlines on every single network saying, are they going to win the Heisman Trophy? Hey, who's first in the Heisman Trophy race? It's week one, is what I would answer to that. It's week one. It's a November award. We all know that. This award isn't won until the last 4 games of the season, and then probably the conference championship, more often than not, is baked into that. We're not giving away the Heisman Trophy in week one. So when people try and tell you, hey, who's in your Heisman Trophy power rankings? Like, quiet down. Quiet down. We haven't even got to October yet. What do you mean who's in the Heisman Trophy race? Denard Robinson, one of my favorite players in college football history. Remember what we were saying about him when he was just a runaway Heisman winner and he was putting up ridiculous numbers? Again, I love Denard Robinson, but I think that's a good case study on why we don't give away the Heisman in September and August. So let's not take the bait. A couple of things here we want to be aligned on. And if you're watching this show, you're already a junkie. You're already probably about that life when it comes to college football. Let's make sure we keep everybody else on the same page, and we'll keep this party rolling. All right? Roll, party, roll. We have another phenomenal partner bringing us the hard count today. And that's the good people at Rowback. And Rowback, man, I'll just say this right now. 20% off your first purchase if you redeem code JD at checkout. And you're going to want to redeem code JD at checkout because they take care of you and they have phenomenal stuff. But even more, I want to kind of backtrack a little bit. We were doing this show in a makeshift lobby from an apartment in Waco, Texas, not that long ago. And even so, at that point in time, looking for sponsors, looking for people that will, help be a part of the operation. And Rowback was one of the only companies to get back to us, and they sent a ton of gear to me. Again, this is when the show was pretty much in its infancy. Sent a bunch of cool gear, and it is just, I'm telling you, for fall, it is crucial. Polos, hoodies, got joggers. They got nice dry fit t-shirts. When you go work out, this is what you want to be wearing, okay? When it comes to this crisp fall weather, the hoodies are a go-to. I'm telling you right now, guys, do not give them to your wives. You will not get them back. I know from personal experience, and that's a good thing because you use code JD at checkout. You can get, couple of those for a good deal with 20% off your first purchase. Now, they have phenomenal stuff for game day. Okay, this is important here. Destination and state collection, second to none. For the good people here in Tennessee, they have the 10 polo, which is kind of a Tennessee colored orange polo, really nice, breathable for game day. So you're out at your tailgate, you're not getting too hot and sweaty. It's a good deal. They're one of us, all right? They're one of us. They are a brand that's not just supporting the hard count. They're in the trenches with us. They're college football fans, college football people, bringing you a product that you can enjoy and that you like. So I'm not just saying that to say that. I'm saying that because they're a brand that I trust, that I believe in, and that we've worked with before. Fired up for them to be working with us now and bringing y'all the hard count. So big shouts to Rowback. We appreciate them. Let's lock and load, baby.
Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.